All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it's Google search, local and city Google search, has BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, pinned post, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. You can see FSIC in white, our graph here. Over to the left, we got the highest intent peeps. These are the peeps searching for, boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, today. And they're searching social search and Google search. So we focus on these peeps in our videos here about BSS. Peeps are closest to the money, highest converting peeps. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We talk about those at our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS, reaching those lowest intent peeps. And currently, we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, our business is basically dead because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. So that is, approximately 80% of the market. That's basically the bulk of the market, basically everyone, basically all buyers. And so 0 is no bueno. 1 slot in page 1 Google is also no bueno because that actually means we're literally looking the same as everyone else because there's 10 slots page 1 on Google. There's literally going to be 9 other peeps with 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, we're blending in. We're basically invisible. We're looking the same. What the boudoir buyer going to do? They're going to click through every. They're literally going to click through every person on page 1, open their website, submit a contact form, get a quote, price shop, negotiate, and kills all the margins, decreases the probability that they buy at any, boudoir photographer makes any profit at all if they even get that client. So 1 slot, no bueno either. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows this. Over time, people get new iPhones, new cameras. It's kind of naturally there, they throw up the Google My Business profile saying they now offer boudoir, throw up their website saying they do boudoir photography. They throw up their, well, they're also them posting the mom Facebook group saying they do boudoir photo shoots. This kind of naturally happens over time. Big flood happened during COVID. Lots of people lost their jobs. Still had to earn money though. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with super camera. So pretty natural for people who become tons of new peeps to become boudoir photographers in that time. Now the false belief of page 1 equality, not many people know about this one. This is where kind of boudoir photographers have always kind of assumed and accepted that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. But this is actually not correct. What actually is true is that Google will give us as many page 1 slots on as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology we developed. So I know just kind of accepting wherever Google places, our website, it's incorrect. Maybe we're on slot 7, page 1, some market saturation happened, then we're on, slot 1, page 2. Boudoir photographers naturally would be like, well, I hope someone deletes their website on page 1 so I can actually get back on there and hopefully Google re-ranks me there. But no, now we know we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And disappearing because, if their business they got 0 slots page 1, so they're on page 2 or deeper. Yeah, they're disappearing because they're already invisible to approximately 80% of the market. If they got only one slot, page one on Google, yeah, they're still basically invisible. They're being price shopped to death. They're dying. They're still dying a slower death than zero slots. But in both cases, it's kind of like the warning light, kind of like the red flag, the canary in the coal mine telling us that our boudoir photography business itself is now on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cube methodology. We know this because we invented it. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're saturating social search, the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, making sure we show up there. Doing this is kind of like putting snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, down on the backside, the eastern side of those mountains. When that snow melts, what happens is it forms into small streams, small rivers, and then it all flows into the large Amazon River. And the large Amazon River is page one on Google. But it all starts with actually getting the snow to the top of the mountain, and that is S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And what's special about this is it's the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually can enable their business to still grow even in the face of massive market saturation, and gives them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other option I've seen that offers a similar benefit is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI's here, it's taking people's jobs. Gonna be a flood of boudoir photographers coming into the market, and we're deciding to prepare ourselves now. And by my estimates, S-cube methodology can actually help build a large, well-known brand in a city approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because we're showing up on so many more surfaces, so much more frequently. That's kind of a byproduct. And then imagine you've got the large, well-known brand, and you continue to use S-cube methodology. I mean, you're basically unbeatable at that point. So an example right now, we are now going to, let's see, I've decided I want to go to, oh, there we go, Topeka, Kansas. So we're in Topeka, Kansas. There are 1 million boudoir photographers. We are one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they shoot boudoir photography. So it's ultra competitive. Get page one on Google. So we're not invisible, so we're not disappearing. And as a result, and we don't have a large, well-known brand. Literally the only chance for us to compete was we now have a solution for S-cube methodology. So like, all right, we're going to take this technology, we're going to crank it to the max. And let's say we take up the first 300 slots on social search across all the surfaces for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. As a result, that flows down the mountain into the Amazon River, that flows down onto page one Google search. And when that happens, we are actually taking those first 300 slots, page one Google search. Let's say we got that as well. So basically anywhere any boudoir buyer searches, we're ranking for all those keywords across all these surfaces, and we're basically the only boudoir photographer our buyers can find. They essentially can't even find our competitors. They basically got page 31 because we're taking those first 30 pages on Google. I mean, who's going to page 31? Nobody. So in this scenario, whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose boudoir photography business is declining, disappearing, going poof? Basically the other 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And this is an ultra extreme example of what the S-cube methodology could enable. Actually taking it to the max, kind of ultra max version of it. Next, once treated with S-cube methodology, we now have page one visibility, P1V. And so obviously we get the initial benefits, more slots page one on Google. We also get this new second initial benefit, which a lot of boudoir photographers like the best. So every new slot we get on page one on Google, we are actually kicking our competing boudoir photographers off page one, put them on page two or deeper, effectively making them invisible. Because remember, approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. They're page one and done searches. So a lot of boudoir photographers like this initial benefit as well. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us. So we have the GBC universe recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. That's because if everyone else has 1 slot each and we got 3 slots, well, we're dominating them. And if the ultra rare chance someone has 2 slots, we still got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So we're basically dominating everyone in all scenarios if we get to a minimum of 3 out of 10. Obviously, higher is better. We also know that Boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S cubed methodology. I wanted to dominate Google page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I use SQ methodology to see my results. Organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So if people searching this keyword, who are they clicking on? Obviously me. And after the main event here, going to see if this boudoir photography business has, we're going to see if it has BSS for its one lone Google search here. Looks like we combined local and city. Search for this one. All right. So here we go. Goshen, Indiana. All right, they got 1 slot, 2 slots. All right, 2 out of 10 slots. All right. So BSS is not present, but they did not hit the recommended minimum of the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page 1 slots. But hey, at least I don't have BSS. That's kind of the first thing we got to solve. So if you're a boudoir photographer and you've got BSS boudoir search sameness for your own business, you're seeing the market's getting more and more saturated over time. And you feel like you're a disappearing boudoir photographer or gonna become disappearing because of what we'll talk about in like 10 seconds. And you also see that the page one equality is a false belief. Like everyone kind of automatically accepted because there was no like word to describe it, to say, hey, I believe this is true or not true. But now we got a word to describe it. And you're seeing the way AI is creeping in. More and more people being laid off. Which, what was the last time that happened? COVID. What happened? Massive influx of boudoir photographers. Massive influx. Massive supply. All fighting for the same eyeball, approximately the same number of buyers. So it's getting harder and harder for each boudoir photographer that enters the market. And you're saying, okay, it looks like I do need the S cubed methodology to kind of preempt or prepare myself for AI pushing more boudoir photographers into the market, which means there's going to be more competition for page one on Google search. But if I can preempt that, get there already, and it's probably already happening right now as we speak, then we can be prepared to not become a disappearing boudoir photographer. We can achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, even though more are probably going to be joining, and achieve boudoir search visibility, and get the extra bonuses on the back end where kind of the more these thematic keyword columns are attached to our brand throughout social, things like that, social search, and the higher chance we show up in AI overview search here at the top of Google searches, and the higher chance we show up among AI search in general. You know, ChatGPT search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, Claude search, Perplexity search, whoever. When we have these like thematic keyword pillars entwined with us across all our social channels, ranking on Google, this is where the AIs pull from. So we're increasing the probability to show up in all these searches as a back-end benefit. And we're also noticing that if someone else starts using S-cubed methodology for their boudoir photography business before us in our city, all those front-end benefits, page one Google, kicking competitors off could happen to us. And those back-end benefits, them showing up in AI search instead of us. And then, well, you wouldn't be able to work with me because I'm only working with one person per city. So you'd have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own and then implement it all on your own. And you'd have to actually meet the work output of the other boudoir photographer using it in conjunction with me and exceed us to catch up and overtake us before we overtake page one on Google, kind of push it as far as we want to. And so you've decided, all right, it's better to simply be a first mover because you know you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when I open up for new patient intake. Right now the hospital's closed. My DMs are closed. Cannot get in even if you wanted to. But shoot me a DM for when I do open up the doors. And we'll see if you qualify. We gotta have some questions. Gotta make sure I'm not working with anyone else in your city. And yeah, we'll see if you qualify.